So as I mentioned here, ethics derive from the Greek word ethos, meaning custom, conduct, or character. It concerned with the kinds of values and morals an individual or society ascribe as desirable or appropriate. Ang ethics address what behavior is considered right and wrong, good and bad, what a person should and should not do. Ethics is not about law per se, although many behaviors that are illegal are also unethical. So, yan yung ethics. So, sabi nga natin dito, it's concerned about values and morals. And as a project manager, we will be tempted to do a lot of unethical, especially sa projects. And kitang-kita naman yung sa Philippines. I don't need to explain it further. Kasi na-experience yan ng mga engineers and architects, mostly sa Philippines, where sabi nga, a good example is yung non-contact apprehension. So, dito kasi sa abroad, matagal na yung non-contact apprehension. So, dito ang mga police, wala silang cash na hawak and everything is charged by card, online. So, and they not even ask you, basta, sige lang, mag-violate ka dyan. But at the end of the day, you will receive messages from the government that you have violated rules and regulations, especially sa traffic. Okay, illegal parking or overspeeding. Ayan yung mga may encounter natin. Okay, so professional code of conduct, it's a code outlining what is ethical behavior for person in a profession usually developed by professional membership organization. Like sa atin sa PICE, then UAP, meron yung professional code of conduct na binibigay nila o ginagamit nila for their members. Same thing with us as a profession member ng any organization, we should have a code of conduct na dapat nating sundin in order for our to protect the reputation of our profession. Okay? And today, I will be discussing yung Professional Code of Conduct ng CMAA. CMAA stands for Construction Management Association of America. And then yung atin, which is IPMA, International Project Management Association. Okay? So, yan yung i-discuss natin mga samples. And then, another term that I would like you to remember, or at least know, is yung project owner. Alam naman natin yan, that it refers to any individual, group, organization, institution, association, NGO, governmental agency, or transnational body that has initiated and or vested stake in the project, program, and portfolio. Project portfolio. Okay, so yan yung project owner. And then, meron tayong stakeholder. Stakeholder refers to anyone who is directly or indirectly affected by or who has to bear the consequences of the project, program, or project portfolio, either in delivery or outcome. So, anybody who is affected directly or indirectly by our projects are called stakeholder. Sila yun. Ganyan. Okay, then we have conflict of interest. Sabi dito, it's a situation in which a person is in a position to derive personal benefit from actions or decision made in their official capacity. And ito very common ito sa trabaho. Not only in public, but also in private corporation. Anything that you as a official have yung capacity to decide or make action and you did it on your personal interest, ang tawag doon is conflict of interest. So sa atin as a project manager, future project manager, itong conflict of interest is very common na dapat nating i-identify or iwasan hanggat maaari, because it may end up you being terminated or removed from the project because of unnecessary conflict of interest. Then, what is bribery? bribery and corruption. Corruption is a dishonest or fraudulent conduct by those in power. So these are basically those people who are in power. It includes bribery, extortion, fraud, cartels, abuse of power, embezzlement, and money laundering. So, alam naman natin yung corruption, this is dishonest and fraudulent. And sabi ko nga, as a start ng inyong project management journey, kailangan alam na natin yung what is corruption and what is bribery, what is conflict of interest. These are the three common scenario that you don't want to be involved with. Kasi sabi nga, project management can make or break your career, and if you don't understand yung bribery, corruption, and conflict of interest, you may end up being removed from the project due to this unpleasant event na ito. And then yung bribery is offering, giving, or receiving anything of value with the intention of inducing a person to act or to reward a person for having acted. And this is very common din sa mga project, no? Again, hindi lang ito sa public, but it can also be in private projects. And so, what is CE, PE, and SOP? Ito, ginawa ko na lang ito. It's just a matter of discussion. CE, PE, and SOP. Very common to sa Philippines, di ba? So, sabi nga, yung justice, di ba? Justice means, yan yung, ang representation nito is yung babae na nakatakip ang mata, meaning wala siyang kinikilingan, ano? But itong CE, PE, and SOP is, it's part pa rin yan ng unethical practice na pwedeng gawin ng isang project manager or anybody who are in position na may capacity to decide or act in favor of somebody, although hindi naman dapat. Okay? So, sabi natin, yung CE is congressman's engineer, marami sa atin yan, that sometimes they are not functioning as supposed to be, as engineer, but they are being dictated by PE, politicians, I call them yung mga people in power, na sometimes hindi na sila nag-iisip. Okay? So, but you as a future project manager, dapat alam na natin that yung mga conflict of interest, bribery, and corruption, which may be, sabi nga, makaka-apekto yan sa inyong reputation as a project manager of the future. And yung SOP, or sometimes we call it as standard of practice, yung commission in given in percentage by project takers. Yung project takers, hindi pa nag-umpisa yung bidding, mayroon nang nanalo, especially sa government project dyan sa Philippines. So, yan, hindi namang sabi nga, hindi naman ito lihim sa atin, di ba? So, alam naman natin. So, we have to be careful, especially kayo, na mga bago pa lang napapasok sa industry, maintindihan na natin what is professional code of conduct and ethics. Kaya nga dito sa ating program ay pinaliwanag na natin so that hindi kayo matali o maitag as congressman engineer, politicians engineer, or yung engineer or architect taking commission. Okay? So, sige, at itong SOP, normally, naandito yan sa cost of doing business. Itong raw material, 30 to 35%, labor, 15 to 20%, equipment, 10% to 15%, then project management, 15 to 20%, and then we have itong administrative overhead and headquarter support, then transport and logistic, then yung design. So these are the standard or common cost item in a typical project. And itong 15 to 35, ito yung mga if that is actually ito yung mga permits, or sometimes kasama na rin dito yung mga SOPs na nangyayari, especially sa government projects. Kaya nga this is also a research done by DTI, CIAP, and it was discussed by our friend Mr. Rene Pajardo, na sabi nga, hanggat maaari, ito yung maiwasan natin. And paano ba magbabago ang Pilipinas? Siyempre mag-uumpisa sa mga kabataan na kagaya ninyo, that the early stage ng inyong career as pagpasok pa lang sa industry, alam na natin what is SOP, CE, for example, congressman's engineer, PE, politician engineers, SOP, which are the commission in percentage given by the project takers. Yan yung mga nanalo na. And sometimes, meron din nangyayari na yung within the LGU itself, sila na rin mismo ang gumagawa ng paraan para manalo o something like that. But anyway, what is important for us is we understand na meron ito. It doesn't mean na ito ay nangyayari lang sa Philippines. In fact, marami na rin nangyayaring ganito sa ibang bansa. Okay? So, hindi yan. Hindi isolated case yan. Kahit dito sa Middle East, nangyayari yung mga bribery, mga commission. This is common sa buong mundo. But, we can lessen it by proper education. Okay? Yan. So, organizational, stakeholder, and ethical decision considerations. Sabi natin dito that this is from EMBOK, Engineering Management Body of Knowledge, 5th edition. Yung stakeholders want to ensure that managers are behaving ethically and not risking investors' capital by engaging in actions that could hurt the company's reputation. They want to maximize their return on investment. Ang sinasabi dito, organizational stakeholders and ethical decision consideration. So, ito yung mga ginagawa ng mga corporations or entities in order for them to maintain yung ethical value ng kanilang organization. So, for example nga, yung stockholder, sa yung sinasabi dito, stockholder, na sinasabi nila dito na lahat ng mga managers nila must behave, and most of the time they have to sign yung ethical consideration and code of conduct. When you are hired by a company that have high ethical value and following professional code of conduct, ang first thing na gagawin nyo doon before you start the employment is to sign a declaration that you will work ethically with highest code of conduct. So, yun. Then, yung sa employees naman, companies can act ethically toward employees by taking the following action. Number 1, creating an occupational structure that fairly and equitably rewards employees for their contribution. And then, creating a physical environment that ensure a safe and accommodating workplace. Employees have an ethical responsibility to efficiently and effectively use the company's asset. Ito, sad to say, alam nyo sa company, kapag kayo kumuha ng asset, minsan, it's very common actually. Without knowing it, ay pwede rin natin magawa yon. For example, if you are working in an office, then sabi nga, iba kasi kumukuha ng, let's say, for example, small things like yung ballpen, na pwedeng ibigay sa anak or sa family, which is hindi naman job related. That is called as that act is unethical. So yan, minsan yung papasok tayo ng huli, yung tandaan, I remember last week sinabi ko sa inyo that when you entered sabi ko sa inyo last time, ang difference ng scenario nyo today, which is kayo ay estudyante, and pagpasok nyo sa industry after your graduation, ngayon is at your own will, di ba? The government have paid your tuition, and it's up to you to study. Ngayon, pag kayo naman ay pumapasok na sa isang company or corporation, the company owns your 8 hours, di ba? So, bibayad kayo dun sa 8 hours na ipagtatrabaho nyo. And marami din kasi mga employees, mayroong mga, sabi nga, attitude problem or bad work habits na nagpapapetik-petik ba? Sabi ng tawag nga namin din yung mga sa site, yung mga tanawan, o kaya sometimes we call them mga rounding engineers. Wala namang pupuntahan, pero iikot lang just only to sabi nga, ubusin lang yung oras. But that's unethical. Kaya nga, ang maganda niyan, if the company paid you 8 hours, work 8 hours, and huwag nating sayangin din yung, sabi nga, tiwala nila sa atin. Okay, so employees have ethical responsibility to efficiently and effectively use the company asset. Pwede din yan. Starting, yung mga small things, yung mga papers, na iuwi sa bahay, yung mga tissues, iuwi sa bahay, yung mga kape, iuwi sa bahay para magamit ng mga anak or asawa o something na gano'n. But that is unethical. Minsan kasi, paano kung, I do remember when I was in, sa India, offshore. So doon, may mga libre kaming ginagamit na tuwalya. Not libre, but for our use. So, kinukuha nila yan, nilalaban. But may mga empleyado kami na inuwi dahil maganda, may tatakot, gano'n. Inuwi, and then hindi nila alam, during pag-uwi nila, dun sa, meron palang nag-check na tao doon. So, napagbukas ng kanilang maleta, di nakita na ang dami nilang mga gamit sa, yun, yung tawag dito, yung mga tuwalya, then yung pati yung mga remembrance ba nila. So, okay lang. Ang problema lang kasi doon, pag nahuli ka, so nakakahiya ka, di ba? So, that is the point here, na maging responsable tayo, that we should not take the assets of the company for our own use. Okay, personal use. Okay. Then, suppliers and distributors. So, suppliers expect the following: to be paid fairly and promptly for their inputs, to be treated with respect as a value chain partner. So, yung mga suppliers natin or vendors na nagsusupply sa atin ng materials or services, kailangan naman bayaran natin on time as mentioned doon sa ating purchase order. Okay, so kung sinabi natin we will pay them within 30 days o 45 days, tayo as a project in charge, huwag nating i-delay. Okay, so yan yung sinasabi din natin. And then, distributors expect the following: to receive quality products meeting all specifications at agreed upon prices, to be treated with respect as a value chain partner. Yung value chain, meaning yan from raw material hanggang sa customer, that is the part ng that is what we call part of the value chain process. From raw material hanggang makarating yan sa ating end users. So, but for us as receiver of products and goods and services, so we have to pay them fairly, promptly for their inputs. Huwag nating i-delay. Okay? Then, unnecessary. Huwag nating i-delay unnecessary. Unless na lang na yung kanilang submissions or submittals are incomplete. But deliberately delaying them to push them para lapitan ka at magbigay sa iyo ng padulas, that is not ethical. Okay, company must work to increase efficiency and ensure effectiveness in order to create loyal customers and attract new ones. So, customers expect a fair return of their investment in company products and services in the form of value, quality, and performance. So, sa atin, as a project manager, ano ba ang ating, if you are a civil engineer, ano ba ang product na ipoproduce mo para sa tao? Di syempre, yung ating infrastructure, for example, mga roads and bridges. So, we have to make sure that the customer or end user, the public who paid us, receive quality and high-performance products or services. Then, yung communities, sabi natin dito, yung communities, companies must work to ensure that their presence is a positive contributor to the local community and contributes to the economy of nations and the world. And, okay, so yan yung... Okay, so codes of ethics provided by corporations. Sabi ko nga kanina, most of the time when you are hired by the company, ang first step na gagawin nyo is to understand their policies related with HR and yung mga internal policies o procedures ng company. And one of them is related with code of ethics. So many corporations have detailed codes of ethics that include statements of principle as well as detailed information on compliance, conflict of interest, disclosure requirement, reporting, and accountability. Yung disclosure requirement, it's called yung NDA, non-disclosure agreement. So you have to sign NDA or non-disclosure agreement with your company that you will not disclose company trade secret to a third party. Okay, so yun. Then yung mga reportings, then yung conflict of interest that are related with your work or your job function. So part yun ang kanilang strategy in order for you to work ethically while you are working with them. And these codes speak to the integrity and citizenship of the corporation in conducting its business. So, ang sabi nga natin dito, you should be familiar with the code of ethics in your own organization as well as those of suppliers and customers in your value chain. Okay, so, and if you are dealing with other company, we as a project manager, minsan meron din tayong non-disclosure agreement with the client na ginagawa natin ng project. Okay, so yun yung code of ethics provided by corporation. There are examples of code of ethics in case in the future you will be preparing code of ethics for the organization. These are the references sa AT&T, Hershey, John Deere, and Medtronic. So this is just an example of code of ethics that these companies are using for their organization. Okay? Sige. So, sabi ko nga kanina, I have samples of professional code of conduct. And dito, let us discuss yung CMAA o Construction Management Association of America, where I am a member. I'm a certified construction manager of CMAA, Construction Management Association of America. And meron silang apat na foundation, four foundation of the code of professional conduct. Okay, so number 1 is ethical practice. Number 2, professional excellence. Number 3, responsibility to the public. And then 4, client-centered practice. So these are the four foundation of the code of professional conduct. When you become a member, not even certified, pag once na nag-member kayo ng CMAA, you have to sign or you have to agree with their code of conducts, professional conducts, having these four foundation of the code: ethical practice, professional excellence, responsibility to the public, and then yung client-centered practice. Okay, so me as a member, I am obliged to adhere and to follow code of professional conduct. And the CMAA Code of Professional Conduct represent the aspirations of the professions relative to clients, owner, colleagues, and the public. Okay, so sabi natin kanina, di ba, that yung most of the professional organization, all of professional organization have their own code of conduct. Okay, so if you are an architect, meron tayong UAP. Then yung mga organization related with your own discipline, meron silang mga professional code of professional conduct that they are following and mandatory sa lahat ng members ng kanilang organization. Same thing with CMAA. Ito yung kanilang code of professional conduct. And why I took this as a sample, because most of our projects in the future are related with construction. So I'm seeing you as a project manager, even though you're not a member of CMAA, but as a guide, you can use this as sabi nga natin, as a reference on what you should do if you become a construction project manager. Okay, so construction managers are used in, okay, sabi nga natin, as used in this code is a term that applies to CMAA members in performance of their services as construction and program managers. Construction managers, ito yung kanilang profession, our profession, provide a broad range of services to their clients and employers that encompass program, project, and construction management, and also serving as owner advisors or representative. And we have discussed this, I think this is OJT01, ano yung mga different delivery methods or system that we are using in a construction project. And one of them is yung construction managers. Okay, so pwede natin I think, okay, this is just a review what we have learned before. Okay, so ito yung kanilang 4 foundation. Isa dito is yung ethical practice. Ang sinasabi nila that we as construction managers should be guided in all our relationship by the highest standard of integrity and honesty. So, ang point nila dito, work with integrity and honesty. Highest standard, integrity and honesty. Being truthful. Okay? Then, we should conduct them ourselves honorably, responsibly, ethically, and lawfully. So, dito makikita naman, it's a straightforward statement. So, honorably, responsibly, ethically, and lawfully. Okay, ganito. In part of our responsibility as a project manager is, sabi nga, to monitor and ensure that the projects are delivered on time, as per scope, as per cost, as budgeted, di ba? So, there are many times, there are times that you have to do extra miles. May mga ganung pagkakataon din, especially kung may mga emergency. A good example is sa akin, may mga project kami na sabi nga, nobody is perfect. Sometimes yung mga tao ko, minsan while excavation, they may hit a live cable and it may trigger brownout sa affected area, affected ng ating cabling na sira, or even telephone line, or even yung pipeline, either sewer or water. Siyempre, hindi mo natin nakikita lahat sa ilalim, di ba? Mga subsurface utilities. Pag natamaan natin, and titingnan natin, ay, teka muna, shut down yung planta or na-disturb yung operation ng utilities, tayo as a construction manager or project manager must be responsible doon sa ating project. It doesn't mean na ikaw ang gagawa, but somehow you have to report it to the concerned people, or you have to coordinate it with the correct LGUs or entities or group or department that can fix yung problem na yon. Huwag nating hayaan. So, we are still responsible. Kasi minsan, may mga kasama din tayo sa ating profession na hayaan mo sila, parang ganon. But you as a professional project manager, dapat ay sundin natin, okay, with the highest standard. And then, kung ano man yung nasira natin, let us be honest. Minsan kasi may mga pagkakataon din na itinatago natin yung mistake natin. So, sa atin, kung nagkamali tayo, ganun talaga, and we should correct it. Kaya nga meron tayong nilalag natin sa ating project is yung lesson learned, ano yung mga experience natin, good and bad experience natin sa ating project, so that we can improve our project delivery. Sabi ko nga kanina, before, mga early years, marami kami nadadamage na ganyan, underground utilities, especially if the drawings are not as built-in. So, ibig sabihin, sa drawing, walang nakalagay na may kable pala or may pipe sa ilalim ng lupa. Pag nagukay ka pa, di tatamaan mo yun, makakasira ka. So, there are ways na ginagawa na namin ngayon. For example, we do metal detector. We are using metal detector to check if there are metal at cable detector. So, we are using it before we start any excavation. So, yun yung mga best practices which we come up after mistakes namin. Okay? So, the point is, act with integrity and honesty. Kung nakasira tayo, admit natin. Okay? So, I'm responsible as a project manager. Kaya nga minsan, nag-stay kami ng madaling araw hanggang sa hindi namin iiwanan yung site hanggat hindi natatapos o nare-repair. Because we don't want people to think na pinabayaan natin yung project. Okay? So, then we should avoid conduct or practices that deceive the public or represent a real or perceived conflict of interest. Meron din sa mga corporation that we are declaring. For example, if you are a project manager or responsible in charge, and you have a business, for example, that can contradict doon sa iyong decision-making capacity, you have declared it and let the management decide if you can pursue with the position or kailangan let it be approved and known, let it be known and approved by the management. Minsan pwede naman kasi yon, as long as they understand it and they are aware of it, it's no longer a conflict of interest kasi dineclare mo eh. Okay, so kailangan i-declare natin kung meron, for example, project manager ka and you have let's say supplier ka ng mga construction materials. So inform sa kanila that I have construction supply company or meron akong company na ganyan. So ang mangyayari doon, huwag ka na lang magana doon. Please don't include my company in the bidding because it will be considered as conflict of interest because I have the right, I have the capacity to decide who will be the winner of that bidding. So, yun yung mga example ng conflict of interest that we need to be aware of. Then, we should respect the rights of others. And okay, sa ethical practice naman, kanina yung sinabi natin, okay, so yeah. Number 4, part ng ethical practice, we should respect the rights of others and should not discriminate. Okay, we should strive to create a diverse workforce regardless of their race, color, gender, marital status, religion, national origin, age, disability, or sexual orientation, nor knowingly violate any law, statute, or regulation in the performance of professional services. So, ang sinasabi natin dito that we should respect the rights of others and should not discriminate. Ano man ang kanilang katatayuan sa buhay, mayaman man sila o mahirap, so parehas lang. Kaya nga tayo as a project manager, hindi tayo, kumaga, meron tayong sinasabing walang masamang tinapay sa atin. So, kahit laborer yan or project manager, it doesn't matter. They are still people that needs to be respected. Number 5, construction managers should have a zero tolerance policy for any form of harassment, including sexual harassment and bullying. So ito yung mga zero tolerance policy, and it's part ng ating ethical practice. Then number 6, professional excellence. We as construction manager or project managers should perform services only within our areas of competence and qualification. So sinasabi nga natin last time, di ba? Kung project manager ka, you are like conductor in an orchestra. Hindi doesn't mean na alam mo lahat yung instrument. Alam mo lang pakinggan, alam mong i-guide yung mga instrumentalist. It doesn't mean na alam mo lahat tugtugin o gamitin yung mga instrument na yon, di ba? O master mo yon. So sa atin, as a project manager, we are a generalist. So dapat alam natin kung sino yung mga dapat natin kunin na tao with competency and right qualification to do the job. Okay? So hindi lahat ay gagawin mo. So tayo sa project manager, if we need to have electrical engineer or mechanical engineer or civil engineer, ilagay natin yan as part ng ating organizational structure or chart. Okay, minsan kasi ang nangyayari, jack of all trades, which is sometimes you go beyond doon sa competency and qualification mo as a person, as a professional. Okay, number 7, we should contribute to the advancement of the program, project, and construction management profession by using best practices, continuing professional education, and contributing to the development of the future workforce. And kaya ang ginagawa ko ngayon, part ng aking desire na yung mga future project manager natin sa Philippines and also abroad ay maintindihan nila yung mga best practices. Di sa OJT nyo, OJT2 ninyo, ang covered doon is mostly mga best practices na hindi na kayo iikot pa. Kumbaga, starting, you don't have to reinvent the wheel. Kung ano yung mga best practices ngayon, gamitin na natin. Hindi yung, sabi nga, when you say reinventing the wheel, you have to start from scratch and learn from your own mistakes. Yung best practices are proven good engineering practices, good construction management practices na sabi nga, merong international standard. Okay? And part yan ang tuturo natin sa OJT2 sa next year, next summer. Then, continuing their professional education, sabi na natin, and then contributing to the development of the future workforce. So, part ng aking legacies dito sa Middle East, I'm conducting a research, and mamaya I will ask your help to spread it to your tito and tita engineers and architects working in the Middle East. Na sagutan na lang yung survey ko. Minsan kasi, yung mga iba ay ayaw mag-contribute. And what I'm thinking is not them, but you as a future OFW working in Middle East. So, kung ano yung mga na-experience nila doon, wag naman ninyong ma-experience because they are not prepared. Kayo, prepared well in advance bago kayo pupunta ng Middle East or whatever. I'm not saying na pumunta kayo doon, but at least aware kayo kung ano yung mga nangyayari, ano yung mga issues and challenges that they are facing in their daily work as a professional engineer and architects. Okay, responsibility to the public. We as project manager or construction project managers should hold paramount the health, safety, and welfare of workplace and the public. Number 9, we should guide and aid in defining and meeting objectives for environmental sustainability and resiliency throughout the project life cycle. Project life cycle is from start, from birth to grave. Meron mga ganong terms. Ibig sabihin, hanggang sa from simula hanggang sa i-demolish yung project natin, at least we are thinking about environmental sustainability. Yun yung ating tinitignan doon. Okay? So, construction manager, we should hold paramount the health, safety, and welfare of the workplace and the public. So, you might have some instances na sabihin sa inyo ng manager mo o let's say owner, do not disclose it to the public. So, minsan titingnan natin, teka, is it an ethical decision? If you think that yung project or activities natin will endanger the public, I think we have to do something. Meron naman tayong mga guide meron tayong mga guideline na nakikita natin o gagamitin natin. For example, if you see something that yung project natin may endanger nga yung kapakanan ng lahat, o ng public, we have to do some, let's say, i-report natin. But it has to go through with through proper procedure. Huwag din basta-basta. We have to seek legal advice if possible so that we can also protect the interest ng ating employers. Okay? But if our loyalty to the company and against dun sa welfare ng public or yung workplace, and then we have to stick with the public rather than the interest of the company. Okay? Seek legal advice kung in case na magkaroon kayo ng ganong scenario. Sabi nga natin, we are generalists, we don't know everything. Sometimes we might mislead kung a-action tayo without proper professionals assisting us. A good example is yung mga contracts. For example, hindi ikaw ay project manager and you can understand the English, sige, firma ng firma. Hindi. Sometimes it's also good to have second opinion, especially those people who are contracts engineers, contract manager, or legal practitioner to check with us yung contract na pinipirmahan natin. We might end up signing a document, legally binding document that are not suitable or may not be appropriate or beneficial sa atin as a project manager or company's representative. Number 10, client-centered practice, that we as a project manager should ethically represent the best interest of the owner or client as consistent with CMAA. So, yun, yung kanilang 4 foundational code na ginagamit sa CMAA. Ngayon, sa atin, sa IPMA, meron tayong IPMA Code of Ethics and Professional Conduct. Sinasabi natin that we, as IPMA members, or student, believe that by committing to acting ethically, we will have our projects, program, and project portfolio better, and that will serve to further our professions. The IPMA Code of Ethics and Professional Conduct lays out the principle and minimum duties we hold towards the project, program, or portfolio owners, teams, stakeholders, society, and natural environment. So, itong Professional Code of Conduct and Ethics by IPMA is a little bit detailed, and itatapusin natin ito, and it will be part ng inyong study dito sa OJT Session 1. Okay, so sabi dito, to whom the code applies, these are applicable to anyone working for or within IPMA, whether you are a volunteer capacity or paid staff. Sa atin, sa IPMA, we are a volunteer. And yung mga paid staff are those in the office, like secretaries, marketing, etc. But 99% ng members ng IPMA are in volunteer capacity. Okay, number 2, anyone working for or within a member of IPMA that has adopted the IPMA Code of Ethics and Professional Conduct. If you have construction business or companies na, well, you are planning to establish a professional code of conduct and ethics para sa iyong company, then you can use IPMA. Yun nga lang, you have to be adhere or i-adapt yun. Once you adopted yung code of conduct nila o ng IPMA, pwede naman. Okay? Anyone working for or within the organization that's adopted the IPMA Code of Ethics and Professional Conduct. Anyone working for or within the project or a program that has adopted the IPMA Code Conduct, Code of Ethics, Code and Professional Conduct. So, ang IPMA, we have 2 types of membership. Actually, 3. One is yung young crew, then we have yung professional members, and then we have the corporate members. And part ng agreement with corporate is to comply with IPMA Code of Ethics and Professional Conduct. Okay, so ito yung codes that are applicable to them as part of their membership with IPMA. So whenever possible, we avoid real or perceived conflicts of interest and disclose them to affected parties when they do exist. Sabi nga sa inyo kanina, di ba, yung yung conflict of interest is very common yan sa ating project. And we as professionals adhering to IPMA Code of Conduct, we have to inform yung affected parties. Meron na tayong example kanina. Number 2, we reject all form of bribery. And then we do not participate in projects, program, or project portfolio which cannot succeed without compromising the principle laid out in this code. Ganito. There are times as a consultant, I normally been asked to check yung project. Okay. Prof, tignan mo nga itong project namin. Is it feasible ba? Ang sinasabi ko, teka muna, tingnan natin. And sometimes, pag nakita ko na alanganin or it may be not a good project, especially if a high-risk project, ay sinasabi ko na agad sa kanila, teka muna, I think it's better to park this project for some time, prepare yourself, do due diligence. Due diligence, ibig sabihin nun, do further study. Okay? For example, sa tingnan natin sa site. For example, it's part ng due diligence. Tingnan natin. Okay? Then, we strive to maintain and improve upon our professional competencies, and we take on only project that we are appropriately qualified to manage. So, kung ang project natin is, let's say, IT, teka muna, part of, okay, I can manage it, but I need to get support from other people. Ayan. So, sinasabi natin dito, kumbaga, i-weigh natin. Okay? Diba, last time, I showed to you ano yung mga typical projects, diba? So, may mga, let's say, engineering, building, residential, and then yung engineered projects plus yung industrial. Okay, yung building and residential, okay, that is not my forte. I'm more on industrial. So with building, infrastructure, dam, I don't have that experience. For example, I may hire somebody na to be in charge in terms of qualification and experience. Okay, so isabihin agad natin. Okay. Then, yung professional ethics, we are realistic and truthful in our bidding procedures, and we expect the same from our business partners. So, being truthful, realistic, and being truthful in our bidding procedures. So, one of the reasons why many projects have failed, it is because of the poor bidding procedure. Ang nangyayari ay, for example, hindi realistic yung submission. You are asking people to submit a detailed estimate or lump sum estimate for, let's say, 2 days, which is not realistic, especially if the project is big. Okay? So, ang mangyayari doon, may tendency that yung contractor may not, they may miss yung mga pay items na hindi niya mapresyohan, and because of that, they may fail the project in terms of cost and schedule. Siyempre, di ba? Kung bababa yung presyo niya and you award the contract, pero alam mo na hindi realistic yung bid niya. So, mga ganun. So, ang ginagawa natin doon, we call them and we ask them to do the presentation. Before we award the contract, let us hear from the contractor itself if they fully understand yung project. Okay, so we will ask them to do the presentation. Okay, and because of that, maintindihan natin as a project manager, okay, these people really understand yung project. Kung hindi man, we can tell them, okay, I think we isang ground yun para i-disqualify natin sila sa project. Okay? Ang isang kasi kung sa tingin natin that the contractor fully understand yung project and still mababa yung presyo nila, then we can ask them some sort of declaration that yun, naintindihan nila yung project, and from there we will award the project to them even though they are the lowest price. Maybe they have other options, or maybe they have a better way of doing the project. That is why they can bid so low, or maybe meron sila mga excess or surplus equipment, material, and people that they can use in the project that are cheap or something like that. So, yan yung mga ginagawa natin. Hindi kamot mura, award agad natin. Kailangan maintindihan kasi tandaan natin, sabi natin, di ba? In a project, we need to have 3 things. Good leadership, good team, and a good system. And ang contractor natin, they are part of our team. And if we select the wrong team, wrong contractor, apektado ang project natin. Kaya kailangan, before we award the project, makita natin na naintindihan nila really ang scope of work ng ating project before we award them the contract. Okay? We make reasonable forecasts and provide truthful and accurate reports. And so, yun. And then we make realistic contract, honor our contractual obligations, and deliver results accordingly. So, ganun din yan. Especially sa mga project natin, meron din tinatawag na gold plating, Yung gold plating is doing more than required for the project, for the sake of relationship. Nagbibigay tayo ng additional features ng ating project which is not supposed to be, at hindi naman tayo babayaran doon. Kailangan medyo ingat tayo doon. And yung scope creeping naman, scope creeping, those are work that being injected by the project owner at the expense of contractor. So, ingatan din natin yon. So, what we normally do, especially pag alam natin na that is not part of our scope of work, we will tell the client, yes, tingnan natin, tapusin muna natin itong ating project, and then if we have spare time, if we have spare budget, if we have spare material, then we will include that additional. If you need it urgently, and it may affect our work progress, then I would suggest that you raise up a change order or contract variation, so that it will be incorporated sa ating project scope, sa ating project cost, and then project schedule. Okay? Then commitment to owners and stakeholders. We value our clients. Project owners, stakeholders are especially mindful of the duties owed to them. We respect confidentiality and only release or discuss confidential information with people who are entitled to the information. Ang sinasabi natin dito, sabi ko nga sa inyo kanina, di ba meron tayong NDA, non-disclosure agreement, with our employers and our clients, na i-release lang natin ang detail ng project once it is approved to do so. Hindi lang natin yan, kailangan sasabihin din natin. Okay, so hindi basta-basta tayo nag-release ng information like drawings or procedures or mga policies na hindi nila alam. Okay, in our stakeholders engagement, we remain conscious of the possible consequences our work may have for other interested parties and strive to minimize any negative impact. So, ganun din yun. As part ng ating function is, sabi nga, anything that may affect sa ating stakeholders, we will try to have it minimized. Hindi naman kasi pwedeng maiwasan lahat, but for example, if your project will have example is reintegration, or let's say hook up or tie in to existing plant or existing facility. For example, meron tayong dadagdag na let's say switch gear or distribution board which will require shutdown, minimize naman natin. Huwag tayong hindi kamot tayo ang nagdi-declare kung ilang oras yung ating shutdown, ay abusuhin naman natin. Kung kaya naman gawin ng 3 hours, then we can declare it at 3 hours shutdown to our consumers. Hindi naman whole day. Kasi minsan masyadong malaki yung gap, just only to play safe or sometimes to give us ample time, parang ganon. Ibig sabihin, hindi tayo ma-pressure. But tandaan natin that we are, for example, if we are working with utilities, we are service provider, and we should minimize the impact, the negative impact of our work dun sa ating mga consumers. Okay, we guard against any biases and unethical influences. We take reasonable precautions to protect ourselves, our teams against illegal activity, and we report any criminal intent or action to the appropriate authorities. Okay, then commitment to project owners, stakeholders. We keep project owners and stakeholders appropriately updated at all times. Part yan ng ating ng stakeholder management, that whatever is happening sa project is we keep them informed. So, ang tanong lang dito, sino-sino yon? So, gagawa tayo ng communication plan. Sino yung mga dapat nating i-update regularly on daily basis, weekly basis, and monthly basis. Yeah, so inaaral natin talaga yon. And then we encourage our clients to critically reflect on their expectation and the ethical implication of the project outcome. Okay, so commitment to co-workers and employees. We hire people who are well-suited for our projects, program, and project portfolio based on their background and experience. Okay, then we ensure the highest level of health, safety measures, and we provide a healthy and safe working environment. We do not participate in projects, program, or project portfolios that require unsustainable overwork or harmful working conditions. We provide training, protective equipment, or other methods necessary to ensure a safe working environment. If our projects, program, and project portfolios require that housing facilities are provided, we ensure our employees have access to reasonable privacy and personal hygiene facilities. So these are the commitment to co-workers. 6. When we encounter challenges deriving from social and cultural differences, we deal with them in a cultural sensitive way. Minsan kasi may mga, especially if you are working overseas, may mga cultural differences tayo. Sa Indian, sa Pakistani, sa Arab nationals, sa American, sa British, sa mga other Asian countries like yung mga Koreano, Japanese, may mga cultural differences tayo. Kahit sa greetings, the way we work, yan, kailangan sensitive tayo doon. Sabi nga natin kanina, we don't discriminate people based on the race and religion, for example. So, kailangan, we as a project manager, dapat strong tayo when it comes to commitment. Ayaw natin na maka-open tayo hanggat maaari sa other cultures. We honor the right of individuals within our teams to celebrate their culture and custom to the extent that it does not inappropriately undermine the moral and mission of our team. You might be invited to attend a festival, foreign festival, and since that you are a project manager of that person or of that team, it's also good to attend those socialization. So, yung mga ganong festival dito, for example, ang mga Indian, marami silang mga festival like yung Diwali or anything na ganyan. Ang mga Chinese, kung may mga Chinese New Year, okay lang, sama ka. What is important there that you don't discriminate them. Okay? So, you cannot say na, hindi, Filipino ako, we don't celebrate those things. So, it may sabi nga, depende yan sa value mo, but as a team player, we give them respect as well. Okay? We do not make use of child labor, forced or bonded labor, or demand illegal overtime. Ayan, yung mga, minsan kasi, nangyayari, we give them a long hours for the sake of making profit of the company. Hindi, wag naman ganon. We do not accept any form of mental or physical punishment, including any kind of harassment or bullying. And we do not condone any form of sexual harassment and take precautions to prevent it taking place. So, commitment to co-workers and employees. So, 11, we do not prevent workers from associating freely with a workers' association or group of their choosing or from engaging in collective negotiations. We pay at least the legal minimum wage or the local industry standard if higher than minimum wage and compensate fairly for overtime. We do not discriminate on the basis of gender, ethnicity, religion, sexual orientation, age, or on any other arbitrary grounds. So, yun yung sinasabi ng IPMA with their commitment to co-workers and employees. Toward wider society, we do not participate in undermining or harming local community societies and economies. Number 2, we comply with the relevant laws and regulations of the country or countries we are working in. Isa din yan sa mga dapat din natin matutunan as part ng ating project management function is ano ba yung mga local laws. We have codes, we have standards, but ang tanong dito, is it complying with the relevant local laws and regulation? So, sabi nga, iba yung guide, iba yung mandatory codes. So, dapat alam natin and regulation and laws ng ating pinagtatrabuhan. Kaya nga, it is important na meron tayong legal advisors. Okay? So, hindi ikaw ay project manager and you can overrule everybody related with your project. Kailangan pa rin natin ng advices from contracts and legal practitioners. Okay? We remain neutral and do not take political stance in conflict situation. Especially, sabi naman natin kanina na, okay, it's good, but we have to stick with what the codes, the standards, and laws, and regulation applicable to the project. Kaya nasabi na kanina, yung mga congressman engineer and politicians engineer, minsan nawawala na yung kanilang good engineering judgment. Although naintindihan ko naman dahil pag hindi naman sila sumunod, they may be removed from the project or transferred somewhere else. Pero ang point dito ay sometimes we have to take our stance. Stand tayo sa ating what is right. Okay, so kasi once na ina-accommodate natin yun, mas lalo tayong pinahihirapan. Okay? Or we will be forced to do something which is unethical, violating the codes of professional conduct. We accept social responsibility and seek to develop our professional practice accordingly. We uphold and promote a high ethical standard even when working under the influence of companies, corporations, institutions, or governments whose practices or policies are morally lacking. Ito yung keywords dito. We promote high ethical standard. Kahit na yung government natin or institutions or companies or corporations that we are working with are having lacking moral standards. So tayo as a practitioner, as a project manager, we must act in high ethical standards. Kung hindi sila nag-act ng ganon, pero sa atin makitaan tayo. Okay, so environmental, sustainability and natural environment. We promote awareness of environmental responsibility among our teams, within our organization, in society. We think long-term with regard to the environment and strive for sustainable development. Isa sa suggestion ko, in the future, if you have time, is to study sustainability. Kasi ayan na yung ito na yung trend ngayon, sustainability. Ano sustainability? Sustainable is to look for the future generation. So sa atin, as a project manager, we have all, kailangan ay environmentally aware tayo. If the project will harm the environment, dapat ay i-consider natin lagi yung ating natural environment. Okay, we do not want, we do what we can do to reduce waste and emission to air, ground, and water, and encourage the recycling of material and used products. We handle, store, and dispose hazardous waste in an environmentally safe manner. We use resources efficiently in our projects and program and avoid waste. So these are just an example. These are the code of practice from IPMA that we as a certified project manager and members of IPMA Philippines to follow. And, okay, so number 7, that's the last one. Our educational mission. We raise awareness of the values and principles portrayed in our code of ethics and professional conducts among our teams. We incorporate what we know about technology, science, and management of projects, program, and project portfolio to develop the people with whom we work. And so these are the IPMA code of professional conduct and ethics na dapat magawa natin as a future project manager. Trained by us, okay, from IPMA Philippines. Okay, so actually hanggang dyan lang naman yung ating this is a short session, but mahirap gawin, okay, especially kung kayo ay nasa industry na and you are the right, if you have reached to the point na meron kayong decision making capacity, na pwede kayong ma-influence o ma-influensyahan ng mga tao o ng mga stakeholder to decide something which is unethically or unlawfully. Okay, so yan yung ating short discussion. Okay, so let me check kung may mga question dito.